Now, let's fast forward to this day. There appears to be, but don't count on it. Don't ever count on it. Don't ever let your mind wander that far, according to compensatory counter-racist logic. Watch it, but don't try to do damage to it. But it might be that a sizable number of white people have said they have looked at the racist system, and rather than just try to come up with a new way of refining it by praising the current president and whatnot and all like that, there just might be, don't count on it, but there just might be a sizable number heading toward a quantum number of white persons who have said, well, been there, done that, enough already. We've had a racist system for a long time, and maybe we ought to try, seriously, for the first time in the history of the world, try to produce this system of justice that we all have been talking about and love to talk about, but not take seriously. Maybe we ought to really try it and see if we can pull it off. Might fail, but maybe we ought to really try it, which means we'll have to do away with the system of racism, because that's the biggest stumbling block. Now, there may be building up to a number of white people who are seriously thinking about doing it and will follow through on what they're thinking about, because it means giving up considerable positions of royalty. And history has kind of proven that most people don't like to give up comfort. Could be any number of things. Could be just raw idealism or just tired of the system, you know. Down through history, people try things and they get tired of it. I mean, sometimes, even back in the days of according to what we read in the history books of the Roman Empire, sometimes the people in the, in the palace just got tired of being in the palace, sitting around eating grapes all day, and beating their slaves and whatnot, and just going to the Colosseum watching the lions tear people apart. Every now and then someone would come up and say, I'm sick of this. Let's do something constructive. And they would go out and maybe for 15 or 20 minutes or 15, sometimes a year or two, they might do something constructive. But then, for the most part, they'd have a relapse. It's just like the Corleones, deciding to give up being gangsters. But then at a certain point, they say, hey, when you come right down to it, that's really what I like to do. I've been doing it so long, I don't really want to do anything else, truth be told. And see, and this is the thing that, and for that reason, now how should black people react to the current situation? They should keep on trying to learn everything of constructive value and clean up all of their terrible habits, because black people have terrible habits that they developed at the bottom of this slave ship, like making enjoyment out of fighting each other because there's nothing else to do, out of their boredom and frustration and hunger or whatever it is. But when you're on the bottom of that ship, every now and then they have to throw hot water on you down there because you're disturbing the captain's sleep, making all that noise, beating each other with the chains that you're wearing. And that's what we do in every neighborhood. And we need to stop it.
Yes.
And if we want something, if it gets too crowded or something like that, we should keep asking the people who run the ship to give us a little space, because these are the people who are going to settle it anyway. If we start fighting among ourselves, they are the ones who are going to settle the fight. We don't have enough sense to settle the fight ourselves. We've proven that. The blinking lights, you see it everywhere. Yellow tape, wherever you find black people, calling themselves handling their business their way. And that's the result of it. Everybody terrified. Mothers throwing themselves over caskets. Funeral homes are the biggest industry, other than the narcotics, that black people have always had in the Northwestern Hemisphere. It is absolutely pitiful. And we should say that and understand that and try as best we can to minimize conflicts with a very simple, I'm talking about solutions now, things that we can do. Minimize conflict, like the book says, by minimizing all unnecessary contact. Now, black people love having contact with each other. But when you have large numbers of black people in contact with each other, with the kind of poison that we carry, we all carry it, because it's been planted there. That poison spreads. And then we have to call in the white supremacists to clean up the mess. And then, as soon as they're gone, we start making mess again. Because that's all we know how to do. Because that's all we've been trained to do. And many of us have got to the place where we like it, which means we have completely lost it. And in order to counter that, the first initial steps are no black person is to contact another black person at any time unless it's for a constructive reason, and that has to be understood in front. No more hanging out just to be hanging out, because that means that trouble is going to start. You can almost guarantee it. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens too many times. It's a part of what we call black culture, and it's got to be thrown away completely. It should be thrown away completely without looking back, because it has not served any useful purpose at all. Just going and visiting somebody just to say that you're there, just to say that I came over and visited you. No, you'd better have a constructive reason for being there, and as soon as that constructive reason is taken care of, almost on the basis of like somebody making a delivery. Someone delivers something, a box to your house. I mean, you know, the one of the delivery companies or something like that. They have a specific reason for coming there and knocking on your door. Once that business is taken care of, they're gone. That's the way black people should interact with each other, each and every day, each and every weekend, and from now on, until we can produce that product called justice. Just sitting around making small talk is something that should never happen between any black person and another. Not ever. Not for 5 minutes. Because it is dangerous.